worry about my large adult Slovenian son. I'll call him that even after bad games.
Calling him that.
Luka Doncic.
Hadn't called him that for 2 years.
I called the whole finals run. I was calling him that. The whole finals run. Go ahead.
That was ugly.
It was.
First 2 times he touched the ball, he turned it over. He had 5 turnovers in the first, 6.5 minutes. You saw that 3-point. That was a self-check. That was like the ultimate disrespect where he had 10 feet and missed the 3, which can be a tough shot because, you're wide open like that. But LeBron was the best player on the floor last night, and LaMelo was the second best. And Luka was just horrific. All that said, no, not at all. Look, he's too good. And it's not a small sample size. And it's not like he just put up numbers on a bad team for the past six years. You know what I mean? Like, he has dominated the NBA individually. He's been to the NBA finals. He's been to the conference finals before that. So, no, I am not worried about him. And here's the thing. He has games like this. Everybody does. But now he's in a brighter spotlight because he's with the Lakers. He just got traded. He's with LeBron. But, his third game this year, he was 5 for 22 for 15 points, but not as many people paid attention. His first 3 games, really his first month he struggled from 3, but his first 3 games he was 2 for 27 from 3.
Yeah, but 3 straight games of not hitting 20 points is rare.
Yeah, but he hasn't played the minutes either.
Yep.
Like the first 2 games, I don't even think he was bad necessarily. He just didn't play a lot, and they didn't need him in the first game when they blew him out. But, so my point is, if you look through his game logs throughout his career, he's had moments like this. It's just now he's in a bigger spotlight. So I'm not concerned. Look, the defense, and we've talked about that as being an issue. They did hunt him in the fourth quarter. And the challenge for the Lakers, we know it's going to be defense.
Come here.
Right. That was just – but so Luka's not going to stay in front of people. Austin Reeves, not quite as bad, but he's going to be hunted. LeBron is not the terrific defender anymore. And then you have no rim protection.
With that said,
when guys get past them, it's all easy layups and dunks at the rim.
With that said, before you just go real quick, because if people didn't stay up to watch the game, but you can see from the score, Lakers didn't lose this game because of their defense.
No, they did.
Right. They actually shot below 40%.
Holding a team to 100 in 2024-25 NBA is a great defensive performance, even if it's the Hornets. They lost this game because of their offense. But go ahead, Greg, because I saw something I want to get your guys' reaction to in Luka, but I want you to go first.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about Luka as it pertains to basketball and him actually getting going eventually. What's interesting is the conversation that we had yesterday about resting LeBron versus the chemistry. And there are pros and cons to both of those things. You get the sense of they need the chemistry. They got to be on the court to establish that type of chemistry. But when they are both on the court, you get a sense of Luka's going to defer because he knows this isn't really my team. I'm coming in to be a part of something versus saying, this is mine, I am the guy. He has to have that approach, and they want him to have that approach, but it's hard when you get to a new location and you're looking at your jersey when you're in the locker room and it's like it's a different color and there's so much going on in your mind, and it's like, man, it doesn't feel quite right yet. And you get that sense that it doesn't feel quite right. There was one thing that he said in his post-game presser. He was asked about what he did over the All-Star break. And did you study? Did you see how you were going to fit in? And his response was kind of alarming to me. His response was, no, I just wanted to really get away from basketball. That right there.
So we're on the same page.
Was extremely problematic.
So again, if people didn't watch it, this wasn't like the first couple games where he didn't have the ball in his hands. He had the ball in his hands. He had 8 assists, 6 turnovers, took a bunch of shots.
Yep.
Like, this wasn't that Austin and LeBron were – no, they put the ball in his hands. He wasn't good.
Yep.
So I'm going to say something that's going to sound weird, but it sounds like I think you might agree with me. He's really sad.
Dude.
I watched last night. He was relieved when he made a shot.
Oh, yeah.
He is, I think, for the first time in his entire basketball life, had his confidence shaken by being traded and then by what they said about him. and I think he is deeply in his own head. I can't, and all of us looked at the trade as these lunatics.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't really stop to think much until I was watching this game last night of how it landed at Luka's. We all were like, oh, Luka's going to be a man on fire. Luka's going to be a man possessed. It appears to me that for the first time in Luka's life, there is a bit of doubt in his, like, wait, what? This team that I wanted to stay with, that I thought I was going to potentially have the dirt career with, not only did they trade me in the dead of night, but now are running to every reporter imaginable being like they hated me.
Right.
They thought I was bad for the culture, they thought I was bad in the locker room. And I see a player who I always joke that he's at his best when he's angriest, like snarling and yelling and swaggering. I see a player that is meek for the first time in his career.
See any of that.
And when we said that, remember his press conference with the Lakers, it was like, he looks
and
a
so
little sad.
I don't think that's a permanent disposition, and I actually think maybe on Tuesday when they play the Mavs, maybe that could be a moment to snap out.
Okay, let's talk about this. I want to address two things because I want to definitely address what Nick is saying about this mentality, but then also about the play on the court. Again, man, basketball is such a long season. Of course, you're going to have bad games. You're going to have a stretch of bad games, just in general. So I said this going into this, that, when they have some bad games or some bad moments or whatever it is, everyone's going to be like, oh, this isn't working. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And they've done this with every single big trade, big, group of players that get together. Steph, KD, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, they've done this every single time, every single big move. Every time we see a bunch of great players combined together, when it's not completely flawless, it's what's wrong? What's wrong? Is there concerns? And it's just like, no, this is just what happens, especially with Luka coming off of being, away for a long time. And it's just going to take time. That's just the reality. And, I saw this coming too. And that's why, I kind of pushed back when Nick kind of said going into this game, I'm expecting Luka to have the best game ever and this, that. And it's just like, making those predictions is just kind of silly. It's just kind of absurd. Now, to talk about Luka's in terms of like, him being meek and him being, his confidence lacking now, I don't think it's so much his confidence necessarily. And we might be splitting hairs here and kind of drifting into semantics, which I try not to do. But I think it's more like, I do think Luka's sad, but I think it's more like this is Luka's first true experience with rejection. You got to understand that so many of these athletes, they're essentially like, these child, pop stars. These kids are told that they have the most amazing voice, that they're absolutely, the most good-looking person in the history of the world. And then they have an army of people saying, oh my God, you're so talented, you're so talented, you're so talented, which is why they all grow up to essentially be kind of crazy. They're not very healthy individuals. And so many professional athletes have a very similar journey where from the jump, they're just seen and told they're treated differently at such a young age because you just know special is special. And that has been Luka's journey. So his entire life, he's just been told and has been treated as a literal god, as untouchable, as unstoppable. And it's impacted his personality. It really has. It's impacted his personality. And now he's kind of had essentially his first breakup. I mean, it's like, again, it's like, that's why I kind of like the pop star analogy, because it's like if you're a mega celebrity from the age of like 5 onward, and now and everyone's just telling you how amazingly and talented you are and everything you're doing, you're making all this money, and every single girl under the sun wants to be with you, and the guys want to be you, and this and that, and you're in all the movies and all the songs and all of this, and you're in a relationship and someone breaks up with you. And they're like, you know what? You're really annoying and you're not a good person. And it's just like what? I've never been told that. And I was in a relationship with someone like that, who they were very talented in their life, and they were pretty much babied their entire life and were just told nothing but positives. And, at that point in their life, they weren't the greatest person. And I was just like, you know what? You're really selfish, and it's hurtful. And like, I saw the world just like shatter and break. And I was just like, I took it back because I was like, no, I'm sorry. I was just upset because I felt so bad. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to shatter their reality right now. And I felt really bad. But I realized, was like, oh my God, no one has ever told you this. And so you have no reason to like change or grow or evolve as a person. You have no reason to treat me better because you think that in your world you're actually perfect. And any issue is actually all because of me and no one else. And so this is Luka having that experience of like, oh, like, yeah, I'm an amazing athlete. I'm an amazing basketball player. I'm on path to being a true all-time great. But I'm not perfect, and I've now been rejected, and it's kind of earth-shattering, you know? And I think he will get out of this, and he did want to just get away from basketball. And I don't think that's alarming. To some degree, I think it's kind of healthy. It's being like, I just need some space, and he's going to get back there. And there isn't a concern that Luka's not going to be able to bounce back, because I don't think Luka's this like weak-minded individual, and I don't think Luka just was playing great because he was either on this absolutely awful team or he was playing great because he was on an amazing team, and so it was easy for him to kind of get buckets. And Luka has played great on multiple different teams just within the Mavs alone, as well as international play as well. So I'm just not too concerned about a lull. I'm not too concerned about him forming chemistry. And like Greg said, and this is what I had said also prior, like it is weird. You feel like, you know, you're looking at your jersey and it doesn't feel like it's your jersey. You feel like you're in cosplay. You feel like you're playing dress up. You feel like it's Halloween. You're like, what is this? Like this isn't who I am. This isn't my identity. And it takes a second. When you go to a new team like that, you're just kind of like, I'm not actually a Los Angeles Laker. Like this isn't real. Like it just feels weird. And there's all these little things, the mini conversations before the game, after the game, the players you're interacting with, the locker room, the coaching, you know, going to your house versus wherever he's staying right now. I assume he's probably in some sort of, you know, rental. I don't know, actually. But, you know, it's just not his home. And so things are just weird. They're just different. And it's going to take him a minute or two to kind of get reintegrated. He's not going to shoot 1 for 9 every single game. He's not going to turn the ball over 5 times in 6 minutes. You know, like it's just not going to happen every single game. He's going to get settled. He's going to be that ruthless Luka that we know him to be. And this isn't going to just magically break him. So I'm not concerned. I think it's interesting to talk about kind of his own personal his own personal reaction to this, because I think it's something that people lose sight of when we treat these athletes as just machines and as elite athletes, that there's a whole nother emotional dynamic that I do think we're witnessing Luka go through. But I do think he's more than capable of overcoming it. And I just don't think that this will be, you know, I don't think there's any worries that need to take place, quite frankly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Luka? Are you worried? Are you starting to worry about Luka? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way. Let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.